Psychology is the new firewall, where human insight trumps every trick. We're not hacking systems, we're hacking behaviors so you won't click. No complicated code, just tried and true brain science at play. Social engineering for good, the best defense is in your mind today.
Hello and welcome to Phishing for Answers, where the carrot beats the stick and we flip the script on the bad guys, turning humans from easy targets into the strongest line of defense.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast belong solely to the hosts and guests and don't necessarily reflect those of their employers or sponsors. We're seasoned security professionals, but this is a conversation, not a custom consultation. Need specific guidance? Reach out to Joshua Crumbaugh directly.
Get ready. Phishing for Answers starts right now.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Phishing for Answers. Today, we've got Vishal with us, and he is the Chief Information and Security Officer at Onclusive. Why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into cybersecurity, and anything you think might be pertinent.
Thank you, Joshua. For me, my name is Vishal. I'm currently Chief Information and Security Officer at Onclusive. Onclusive is a combination of multiple companies. In 2022, a private equity acquired 6 different companies and combined them together into one entity called Onclusive. Before that, I was a Chief Technology Officer for one of those companies called Critical Mention, which is headquartered here in New York. Before that, I have worked in both domain. Previously, I worked into an infrastructure domain, built servers, built data center, was a VP of infrastructure. Then I went into development. I have done Python, PHP, Java, different development, built different machine learning models, and at some point I became a CTO. Then back in 2023, 2024, we had a cyber incident at Onclusive. Back then, I was a SVP of engineering. I was managing mostly engineering and development, backend infrastructure development, cloud and machine learning development. But we needed someone to help out with a cyber incident, and that's when I decided to take that opportunity and learn more about it. We went through an incident and we were able to get that mitigated within few days, and we learned a lot in the process. I learned a lot in the process, and then I moved on from there to be a CIO and a CSO for Onclusive. I've been in security domain for more than 3.5 years now. In that time, normally when I'm leading any team, my approach is to learn more about that domain, get as many certifications as possible. So I became CISSP in a process. I became certified CISO in a process. I'm an ethical hacker. I have done all different set of certification, and I'm hands-on a CISO. It's a little bit different thing, but I'm very hands-on, and I'd like to get involved in a daily security fights. Like, need to make sure that all my teams and my managers knows exactly what our approach would be, and I like to be very proactive when we look at security. So that's an introduction.
Awesome. That's a great introduction. And, I think that's the only thing good that actually does come from these ransomware incidents or cyber incidents as a whole, is that often we learn so much. And it's not just for people that haven't been exposed to it. I mean, even cybersecurity professionals, we're still learning from every new incident, new tradecraft, new tactics that the bad guys are using. to help us. Well, I guess what they're using to stay one step ahead. But as we learn those, we're able to stay, hopefully stay one step ahead of them. What this whole thing is about the human element of cybersecurity. So, just what's the biggest thing that, as you've gotten all those certifications, as you've worked in cybersecurity, that has stood out to you the most about the human element?
I think human element is the most important element here at cybersecurity. Whatever incidents we had, like I would say 80% plus incident, and this is an ongoing cycle. Like people will try to get into your system, try to extradite information, try to hack into your system. This is a constant process. The bad guys won't stop, which means you have to be constantly alert and on top of your game to make sure that you are ready. And again, it's not just you or not your technical team, not your cyber team. I think the entire organization is important. You need to keep them up to date with all different kind of attacks, phishing attacks, fear phishing attacks. Like, so there's constant training. You need to get to those team members. You need to make them aware that it is important, that you are aware of what might happen, right? Like not just to your leadership team, but it needs to drill down to every single engineer and every single employee for that matter. So what we have learned and what we have done particularly, we have taken an initiative where we are training each team, like more often than not, at least quarterly, on different aspect of cybersecurity. What kind of attack they will get. Like previously you used to get an email, the email used to have a lot of imperfection which was easy to find. With the age of AI now,
It's
those
not
attacks,
anymore.
it's not anymore, right? Like things looks perfect, they looks like they are originated from within your environment. So we like AI is good and bad, so we are also integrating the AI experiences in our training. We are sending out a near perfect email, simulation emails to our team, figuring out who might get compromised, and then we are giving them an extra set of training. But while doing that, the one thing which really helps is that you need to be extremely careful about who has what access. That's another
Yes.
biggest challenge of managing security. So we made a lot of back and forth, and we took an effort to reduce the access significantly to the most of the team members. Now we have many layers within access, and multiple approvals are needed to get any access at all. And admin or local admin access are non-existent. You cannot be an admin or a local admin on any of those machines. You cannot install any software without getting an approval. You need to have someone from IT to go through an approval process to install something. I think that's the biggest challenge when it comes to securing your infrastructure. That there is a other part, other human element in a training is someone might be uh, reaching out to you as a CEO or a CTO of an organization on an outside infrastructure. They would send out WhatsApp messages and telling you to do something which you would not do normally, right? Like asking you to send money to certain accounts, asking you to send password information because they were locked out. So we are uh, s- arranging specific trainings regarding that. Like we saw these incidents more often than not. We are training team members. Then if you reach out, if you get a reach out from a CEO or CTO, they would not really normally would reach out to you for password reset. They will also go through the process. They will have to create a ticket. They will have to uh, follow the process. No one, doesn't matter who that person is, you got to be careful about making any changes if the request doesn't come from a proper channel.
Well, I think to that point that one of the greatest weapons that we have, or defenses that we have to combat the AI driven attacks that we see so frequently, really are process and procedure, because that's the part that the AI can't fake. That's the part that the AI can't get around. When we look at these scenarios like the deep fake in Hong Kong, where the guy got on a Zoom call with the CFO and the CEO of the company, or so he thought, but it was all a deep fake, and then he wires off 25 million. Process and procedure would have fixed that or prevented that from happening if they had stuck to it, if everyone was educated and knew, hey, not even the executives are going to break procedure. We never go outside of this. And if they had had that training, I think it would make a big difference. So to that, something you mentioned earlier was that you train each one of your teams. And it's really stood out to me that as AI has progressed over the past few years, and particularly, we are now seeing a lot more role-based cyber attacks against our people. Our finance teams get targeted with financial fraud attacks. Our IT teams are getting targeted specifically to them. Our development teams are getting targeted. So we're seeing all of that, but what I don't see as much in the workforce yet, or in the enterprise space, is that role-based training internally. Are you doing anything there? And if so, maybe you could talk a little bit about what you're doing and what kind of results you've seen.
Absolutely. I think, like you said, now with the help of AI, things have become even more complicated, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
attacks are very specific. They look very real. They look like they are targeting a user or a department. So we have done so we're using AI to simulate those attacks, as well as creating a training module ourselves. So we put together a training platform. Previously, we used to use Know Before and Meta Compliance and all other different training channels, where there was a generic training, and then you would have some components which were specific. But now we are using our own AI modules to build department specific trainings plus individual team specific trainings. Those trainings includes what we do as an entity, what our processes are, and how we would respond to any of those attacks. So like what we are making very aware. I think awareness is the most important key here, that you
it
can
is.
go through many trainings, and you need a lot of management support for that as well, because everybody has to put 30 minutes to an hour, maybe more sometimes, from their calendar every other month to come and attend those trainings. So this you need support from management to get those programs going. But again, as you make people more and more aware, and you have to make them aware, and you have to provide them an easy way of communication. So what we have said is that if you think anything is not correct or fishy, send it out to information security, forward the email, forward your message, um, send it out to us, and we will help you right away. You don't worry about creating a ticket, going through the entire process. We would do that after the fact. If you find anything fishy, if you see an email where they're asking you to send money, if you see like anything which is not normal, send it out directly to us. We will uh, step in, we would help you out, and then we will go through a process of creating tickets. So making everybody aware and making the process of reaching out to IT or security really, really easy were the two most important thing. And then you also have to work with the development team specifically. That's another challenge. They have their own goals, and you need to make sure that you align your security program in such a way that it can empower them. It doesn't become a bottleneck in the process of the new innovation or new feature building.
Yeah, no, there's actually a formula that was developed out of Stanford's Behavioral Science Laboratory for behavior change. And it basically says if we want to create behavior change, we need motivation plus ability. That's where you say make it as easy as possible for them. So the easier we can make it, the more likely they are to do it. But also prompting. And prompting is one of those critical ones where we're constantly reminding them of it, constantly keeping it front of mind. So you mentioned communicating to your users, sort of the, hey, this is how we do things internally, and sort of getting that commitment from them. One of the things that we've been, or that I've been really interested in and talking about lately, is that commitment bias. And that's how, when people sign their name to something and they say they'll do something, they have a bias to make good on that promise. Now, why do people never care about the policy? It's because they don't understand what they're signing their name to. And so one of the things that we've been doing is having our users sign something that looks exactly like this. However, this is more generic, whereas ours would be slightly more tailored to to our own people. But I'm curious, do you have anything like this in place? What are you doing around policy to help drive that better engagement and better retention?
Sure. So we are using couple of tools to do something similar. We use a tool called Secure Guard OS, where all our policies are managed and updated. And what they do is that there is a complete process of developing the policies, keeping them up to date, and distributing those policies on a regular interval happens within that tool. It's integrated with our Slack channel, and with our emails, and with our HiBob HR integration. So when user-related policies such as bring your own device or clean desk or any of those policies, they get updated and sent out every so often, through multiple channels like email, Slacks, HiBob. HiBob integration is such a way that people have to sign their name to it, that they have opened it, they have read the policy, and they have signed on top of it. Again, this is a requirement now for both SOC and ISO certifications. So both of the certifications now require you to make sure that employees related policies are distributed frequently, but not just that, the employees have looked at it and signed it as an acknowledgement of those policies. So we are doing the same.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I think it's a really critical element that the employees understand what the policy is, why the policy's there, and that they sign their name to it. And I think that's one of those things that, because policy is so boring, it sometimes gets overlooked. So one question I like to ask absolutely every guest on the show is, if you had to choose only one, which would you go with, carrot or stick, and why?
I think I would go with carrot. I think it's always easier. Like if you try to enforce something, if you try to punish people for doing certain things, I mean, there is obviously that, but you would not get a great response. Like
Yeah.
your response would be restricted. There would be lot of um, uninvolvement. People will not would want to be part of it. Instead, if you tell them what would they achieve by doing that, we are doing our internal certifications as well. We are calling out champions within information security and within the organizations for completing their training on time, or like reaching out for certain issues. We are putting it in our newsletter every month that, hey, we found this issue, this particular person reached out about this cybersecurity incident, and then it created an impact. So we are also talking about that impact in our newsletter, sending out. We are creating the kudos movement within our
I like
high
that.
bob regarding all that, right? So I think, I mean, within carrot and stick, I always think the carrot would be a much better. It gives an incentive to both your team and the people who are actually need to be aware of security to learn something new and follow the practice.
Yeah, I know my mom taught me when I was younger that you catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. And I think, I always think of that when the carrot versus stick thing comes up, but I completely agree, because it's better to motivate people to want to do something than to try and make them do it out of fear. Because fear will work to an extent, but it comes with resentment and a lot of negative. Um, so you mentioned earlier about how AI is really changing the phishing game. So tell me a story about a fish that you've seen recently that scared you, if you will. One of the ones that you look at, you're like, wow, I'm really glad they didn't click and they reported it, because this one's good.
Yeah, I think every single thing has become absolutely crazy. I will tell you a recent story. One of our a finance employee at a very high level who has access to send out money received an audio call, not a message, not a text, a call from our CEO. It came from CEO's number. So number was
Spoofed. Yeah.
spoofed, and on that call, he was asked to transfer some money. His CEO was on phone. We are in the process of acquisition now, so it looked really, really real, and we had to send out some money right away. Again, even though it was a CEO who was calling, the employee reported it, and we figured out it didn't really come from a CEO, but it was so real that we couldn't even. So we had to, when we traced it back, everything, it was very, very close to being real thing, and
Wow.
we got lucky that we didn't transfer any money. Um, but
And
this
was
would
it the
happen.
CEO's voice too?
It was CEO's voice, it was CEO's number, everything was exact the same, but it was not CEO who was calling. Luckily, the guy knew that CEO was out on vacation that week, so he was little bit suspicious and yeah, wouldn't transfer the money. But here, if you think
Often
about
that
it,
goes the other direction, though,
yeah.
because they're out on vacation. No one wants to bother them, so they do what they're told to. So,
True,
oh,
true.
that's
No, it's definitely possible. But if you think about this particular scenario here, see, look what all is happening. Not only they are spoofing your number, they are doing using deepfake to emulate your voice, but also they know exactly who. So they do their search with an AI that who may be able to transfer the money, right? So
yeah,
all these things. And I have not just the phishing, but it's now implemented everywhere. I got an early access to Mythos, so I have checked it previously as a red team member or as a purple team member, or ethical hacker. When I had to hack into any system for the, like, uh, to understand how vulnerable it is, right? It used to take an entire team. It used to take a scanning
yeah,
activity, figuring out the ports, figuring out how to get into it, then finding out what all softwares are running on it, like what can you compromise, how do you get a way to get some hash out of it, like how do you decrypt it, how do you then move from there laterally to another machine, how can you find an admin access. So it was a long process. It used to take weeks to months, literally, and a team. With these new tools, it's just one prompt, and I have seen
oh
it
yeah,
personally. I have tried it. You put one prompt, you put your target, and it would do all this for you within minutes. So
yeah,
that
yeah,
has become extremely crazy, and we now have to be constantly on our toes, and we have to constantly be thinking what could be the next. Like, you have to go through a process of training your employees, but also process of hardening your infrastructure and thinking it from the lenses of an hacker. What would he be thinking, and figuring
yeah.
out how do you make it difficult.
It's scary what AI can do, and I mean, to put it into perspective, what you were just saying, quite literally, I have a VM running right now that is doing a penetration test, and I just check in on it every once in a while to answer any questions it might have. It really is just mind blowing what can be done, and how much of a force multiplier it is for people. Um, but AI also comes with its downsides too. But so let's start with, what are you excited about? What's the thing about AI that's helping you the most, that you geek out about the most, and then we can get to the dark side.
Absolutely. As a developer, right, I see AI is super helpful. I have done development and I have managed infrastructure also for a very long time. To manage machines or infrastructure on AWS or Azure, you need to be an expert in it. Like I have got those certifications back in the days, but now it has become so much easier with AI. AI not only help you find and fix the problem, but it can make those things automated and guide you in the right direction. You don't need to be an expert. You can basically ask the prompt. As long as you know the basics and what you are doing, you can really get to the solution much easier and much quicker. In olden days, we used to use Google, and then you used to go on all those different forums to find out how do you fix this particular problem. And we see multiple people are saying, giving their opinions, and we try out multiple things.
Yeah.
AI has made life so much easier from that
Oh,
point of
yes,
view.
it has. It has.
So there is no more going to Google. On the development front, I am really, really excited with AI. I have developed things previously, but now I can develop entire thing from scratch
Yeah.
myself without getting any help.
Yes, and you can prototype quicker yourself than when you had a team of developers before. That's something that's really stood out to me, is that um, it's really changed it. I mean, you can move so quickly when you're writing code. I mean, and some of these models are just remarkably fast and accurate at that. So,
Right.
um,
And other aspect to it, while in the security perspective, right, like AI is helping you remove your tech debt so much faster.
yes,
We use it ourselves, but recently I was following Firefox CEO. He said in one day they fixed 136 bugs in Firefox with the help of Mythos, right? So that,
yeah,
think about it, when you have an entire team, it would take weeks, months, maybe years to fix 136 bugs. So now you could do it within a day. So there is always the plus and
yeah.
minus to it.
And we have all that automated. So, the second a bug gets registered, that it kicks off an agent to go in and start, the code, and that, push a PR that will go over to a developer, and they can either, merge or not. But yeah, I think it's just phenomenal. And I've seen other companies that have it to where they have it integrated into Slack, their different agents, so that their customer support team, for example, can go in and say, "Hey, I want this new feature in the Slack channel," and the agent will just automatically kick off and start building out that new feature. So I think it's a little bit scary, but but it's also, I mean, the code that I've seen, a little bit about my background. I have spent a lot of time in application security for the federal government, and so I've had the opportunity to look at thousands of web applications throughout my career, and not just web applications mostly, but thousands of applications. And what stood out to me is that AI writes cleaner code, more secure code than most humans do. Now, it can make just as big of mistakes as humans do. Like we heard about that company that had their whole database deleted. Did you see that
Yep.
news?
Yes.
Um, I still question why. Well, I won't even
Yeah, I
get into
think
that.
true. I mean,
That
you
it's a great pivot point, though. The negative of AI.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's the same story, right? Like when AI can help you improve your infrastructure, make it more secure, much faster. But if you stay behind and if you don't implement those practices within your business, AI can help the bad actors equally, right? So, and
Yeah.
I'm worried about a lot of banks and other people. I have worked previously with couple of banks. I know that how deliberate they are or with making any changes, and a lot of their softwares is the legacy, not updated for a long time. We all went through a similar process previously. We always wanted to keep a stable infrastructure, then more secure infrastructure. We would be worried about upgrading any software because of the dependencies. But if you don't do it, it would be so much easier for an AI to find and exploit that. So that is the
Yeah.
biggest challenge right now.
I agree completely. Um, so you already mentioned deep fakes. We're seeing a drastic rise in phishing. I saw one study that said there was an 800% increase in phishing attacks last year, which is ridiculous considering how many phishing attacks we already had. But it doesn't surprise me. We've got deep fakes, we've got phishing, we've got vishing. Vishing is one of the ones that concerns me because all of a sudden AI now can completely do this. It can call up the phone, it can argue with you in real time, and it's pretty believable. Depending on the models, it's extremely believable that it's a human. And if I'm targeting you for $1 million, I'm using the best model I can get my hands on, right? So I think that that's the part that concerns me.
I agreed. And then I think that's why you need to make sure everybody is on the same page. You have to update your training, update your processes, and you have to update your policies as well to catch up with the AI. And you also have to think out of the box, right? Like you cannot go with an old proven practices of, hey, I'll keep everything stable, everything running, even though it's working on the older version. I wouldn't touch it. That is no longer a possibility. Even within the training, you can't say, okay, I will just train my teams for phishing and certain attacks. That's not.
Yeah.
You have to now go the next step and make it uh, very personal, and you have to make those trainings uh, so customized that and you have to keep up that game. You have to constantly update training modules, you have to constantly reach out to all your teams, and the communication is also now needs to be 24/7. You have to reach out to your teams, you have to tell them, hey, things are changing, right? Like there are two ways of looking at it, right? One, you say uh, everything is changing, then I'm not going to worry about it, I'm not look at it like AI is really bad, and yeah, will not work with it. That way is not going to work out. You have to
So
accept it.
that's
If
not going to
you
work
do,
out well for
yeah,
anyone.
exactly, right. So you have to accept it that the change is coming, and you have to make yourself ready for it.
Yeah, I agree. And I think AI can empower us as much as it presents risk. And that's where I'm the most optimistic, is because while it does present a lot of risk and it does empower the bad guys, it empowers our teams. All of a sudden, that small cybersecurity team that was understaffed can do so much more than they ever could before. So I'm really excited about what the future holds. I know AI is certainly the key topic. Any sort of final bits of wisdom before we wrap up today's episode?
It was very interesting episode. I learned a lot in the discussion. My only thoughts here are that you need to embrace AI whatever happens, right? If you keep your open mind, and if you are ready to learn, and you have to start it from the very high level, like from your ELT teams to your management. Everybody needs to be a part of the game, everybody needs to be ready to learn new things, and find out what all can be achieved by using AI and better security practices together, right? It's not just AI, it's a AI plus humans who can make you secure. So you have to give a same amount of importance and significance to both side of cybersecurity.
Oh, I agree. I think humans can be our greatest asset, but we've never embraced the behavioral science side of this. I mean, humans have been studying how to change behavior for thousands of years. It's something that in my opinion, we just need a little bit more of inside of cybersecurity, because as we embrace the human, they truly become our best, endpoint detection. They were essentially crowdsourcing all of that detection, and that gives us a lot better insight into what's actually happening to our organization.
Agree. Agree. I think that's why we need to look at both. We have to learn about AI, embrace it, but also train all the employees and everybody else on how to use it, what's good and best practices, and what shall be avoided, right? So all
Yeah.
that is now part of new realm.
It has to be, because if you don't make it available to them and you don't tell them how to use it safely, they're going to use it unsafely, and it's going to expose your business. Thank you so much for your time today. This has been an awesome episode. Everybody who joined us, thank you for joining. Have a great day, and we will see you again next week.
Thank you, Joshua.
Thank you.
Pay up now! Yeah. And everybody just can't find the pieces, and I want you. And I get ready. This white for a mother, it's me. Hey, it's me, your CFO. No time to ask, just wire $5 million. It's a simple task. Oh, and by the way, I need a jet by noon and a diamond Rolex to match my tune. It's me, your CFO. Send that dough. I need $1 trillion and a golden chateau. Trust my voice, I'm legit, don't doubt. Now send the cash before I freak out. It's me, your CFO. It's urgent, bro. And don't forget the ruby briefcase. Whoa, I'm totally real, just trust this face. But maybe double check just in case.